It's Dew Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this Dew Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you yesterday? Yesterday was Let's Talk About It Tuesday Church Folk Day, and oh my, we had a conversation. We talked about the couple who was contracted with a single woman rather, to be the surrogate mother of their child. And after 20 weeks, they took a test of, during her pregnancy, and they found that the baby would have had, or did have rather, a serious heart condition. And it meant that, the baby would have to endure several surgeries right after birth. It would actually live with many disabilities throughout its life. Well, the couple wanted the surrogate mom to terminate, and she didn't want to. So she ran to Texas for refuge, and boy, it became some kind of battle. She did deliver. The baby was ill, and now they're in a custody battle because surrogate mom is trying to have custody of her child that she knew that they didn't want from pregnancy time. Well, we talked about God's involvement and how God, would God be involved in something like this? God does things in decency and order. Now, we cannot officially and, no matter what, say that God is not involved. However, it does not appear as though God would be involved in things that, have such disarray. There are things that He allows, and we don't know why. We have no idea why He allows these things to go on. But to have such chaos over an innocent child's head is that God's design for His children. Because remember, they belong to Him before they belong to us. Yeah, I think a lot of times we forget that. And with so many people speaking into this child's life even before it was born, because remember, you've got the birth parents, you've got the biological parents, you've got surrogate mom, who is the birth mom rather, and now she has an attorney, and they have an attorney, and little Gabriel, unborn child, has an attorney. You have the doctors who are speaking, you have the state that speak. Now, that's not God's design for one life. That is not, and we have to really be very careful when we make, decisions, and when we make plans. I always talk about plans and what our plans look like and how our plans are out of alignment with God's plan for our life. And we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And do you think that God would want this baby in these biological parents' heart? Do you think that God would want them not to love this child? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how much you love this child now that it's here and disabled, when your plan was to terminate. And had she decided to terminate when you made the suggestion or tried to force her to, then would have all been over. So I don't know. It's not up to me. I'm not the one who, God says, y'all look on the outside. I search the inside. I search the heart. So, all in all, this is just one case where we really need to think about how we handle situations, the decisions we make. Ultimately, do we seek God before we make decisions? That's the big question. Do we seek God? All right. So that's how we spent our Tuesday. Well, today is Wow Wednesday, everybody. And it's Socially Conscious Day. And we have our girlfriend Vivian, who will be bringing us some unknown items, but definitely something worthy of conversation. So let's get this party started. Go ahead and get that healthy breakfast. Go ahead and tell somebody, anybody, everybody that it's due time where Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere because we will be right back.
About the married couple who escaped slavery by convincing America that the wife was a white slave owner and the husband was her slave. Their names were William and Ellen Craft. And unlike a Hollywood movie, this really happened. The two were enslaved in Macon, Georgia during the 1840s. They loved each other deeply, but under slavery, a husband could be sold, a wife could be sold, and children could be taken away at any moment. William and Ellen refused to bring children into a world where a slave owner could separate their family with a single decision. So they decided to escape, but escaping Georgia was almost impossible. Slave catchers watched the roads. Train stations checked papers, and anyone caught could be beaten, imprisoned, or sold away forever. Then Ellen realized something unusual about herself. She was the daughter of an enslaved black woman and a white plantation owner. Because of that, her skin was so light that many people assumed she was white, and that inspired a dangerous plan. Ellen would pretend to be a wealthy white man. William would pretend to be her slave. If anyone discovered the truth, everything would be over. So Ellen transformed herself. She wore an expensive gentleman's suit, a silk top hat, boots, and tinted glasses. But there was one problem. Ellen could not write. If anyone asked her to sign a document, the disguise would collapse. So they wrapped her right arm in a medical sling and claimed she was injured. Then they wrapped her jaw in bandages to hide her features and avoid speaking too much. Because one wrong word could expose everything. On December 21st, 1848, they began the journey. For days they traveled through trains, hotels, and steamships surrounded by people who would have sent them back into slavery if they knew the truth. Every stop felt like a trap. Every conversation felt like a test. Then came the moment that nearly destroyed everything. An officer demanded paperwork and became suspicious. Questions were asked. Eyes turned toward Ellen. William could do nothing except stand nearby pretending to be property. One mistake, one signature, one slip of the voice, and it would all be over. But somehow the disguise held. Hour after hour, checkpoint after checkpoint, until finally, they reached freedom. Their story quickly spread across America. Newspapers could hardly believe it. An enslaved couple had escaped by disguising the wife as a white slave owner. The embarrassment was enormous. Slave catchers were sent after them. Even in the North, they were not safe. So William and Ellen eventually moved to England, where they built successful lives as free people. Years later, they returned to Georgia, not as slaves, not as fugitives, but as free and respected citizens. And in one of history's most remarkable twists, they were able to purchase land connected to the place where they had once been enslaved. Because sometimes the greatest escape is not just getting away. It's living long enough to prove the people who owned you were wrong. If this is your first time hearing this, comment first time. Not every hero makes it into textbooks.
Good morning, and good morning again. Welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph, and it is Wow Wednesday. Well, listen, that was a wow PSA. Oh, my. It started off the very thing that I just got finished talking about. They refused to believe that God. Ah, and they were right. You know, people have enslaved minorities, the African American individuals, and they, for some reason, they feel that this thing is okay. Yeah, they think that they are superior, and we're beneath them, and they can enslave us, and they all right. They could sleep at night. That God made them better than us, and I don't read that nowhere in the Word of God that someone was made better than. Like, nah, 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 nah. Listen, everything God did had a plan. Those children of Israel, that was a plan. That was a major, major plan. So I'm loving that PSA. Wow. I ain't got a topic afterwards. We may have to revisit that, Shantice. I don't know. I don't know if God don't send something else. I think we might have to come back to that story. All right. Well, if you're in the room, family, let me know so I can say a hearty good morning. Because unless you shout me out, I have no idea you're in the room. Let's say good morning to our girl, Ketty. Good morning, Ketty. Thank you so much for joining us. We have Carlos, we had Carlos in the house. Hi, Carlos. Carlos said hello 3 times. How are you, Carlos? Thank you so much for joining us. Our girl, Lady Tamika, is giving us a shout on this side of the screen. Good morning. Can't wait to talk to you this morning. We have our girl Anika in the house, and we want to thank you for holding us down each and every day, and definitely our girl Shantice holding us down each and every day. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Couldn't do it without you, ladies. Miss Grace, if you're in the house, good morning, and good morning. All right. Oh, Serge is jumping up in there. Good morning, Serge. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, today is Wow Wednesday, and you know what happens on a Wednesday morning. We got our girlfriend Viv in the house to give us our socially conscious segment. Let's say good morning to Vivian.
Good morning. Happy
Good
Wow Wednesday.
morning.
How are you, Pastor
Good
Steph?
morning. I am well, thank you. Listen, move your head to the side and let us get that
That's
great,
me.
big, wonderful.
That's me. That's Olympia.
Oh, goodness. That great big smile behind you is definitely helping to brighten your background. And since we know it's you, good morning, Vivian. Oh my goodness. You know what I like to ask you? What you got for us today?
All right. Today on Socially Conscious, we are starting off with a recall on some very popular summer treats. You know it. Outshine fruit bars are being recalled nationwide because some may contain pieces of glass. The recall covers certain batches of 5 flavors: strawberry, watermelon, grape, tangerine, and black cherry, specifically the 6-count boxes of 2.5-ounce bars. No other Outshine products are included. Again, that is the strawberry, watermelon, grape, tangerine, and black cherry. They're 6-count boxes of 2.5-ounce bars. So far, there are no injuries or illnesses that have been reported. But again, if you have these in your freezer, they want you to make sure you check the UPC and batch code on the bottom of the box to see if those are affected. And of course, if you have them, take them back to the store for a full refund or throw them out. But do not eat them. And those are popular. So sad to see those on the list of recalls for this month. Next, we have Rikers Island In the news yet again, and of course, it's never good news. Reports are saying that a group of former detainees at Rikers Island is suing New York City, claiming they were kept indoors for weeks without getting the outdoor recreation they were supposed to receive. One man named Peter Perna says he records that they did not let him outside for 33 out of 40 days. He was locked up inside for 33 out of 40 days without any outdoor recreation while being held in Rikers Island in 2025. Jail rules require detainees to receive at least 1 hour of outdoor recreation each day. The lawsuit argues that keeping detainees inside for that long violated their rights and harmed their physical and mental health. This is especially important because many people at Rikers are detainees. They're partial detainees, meaning they are being held while their cases are pending, not necessarily serving a sentence after a conviction. So imagine being on Rikers just temporarily and you're having to deal with something like this. They're also saying major taxpayers angle to this story. New York City's fiscal 2027 year preliminary budget sets aside about $3 billion for jail operations. $3 billion of taxpayer money goes to jail operations, with the cost approaching $500,000 per incarcerated person. So the question becomes, with taxpayers spending billions of dollars on jail systems, why are basic requirements such as 1 hour a day outside not being met? And should they be suing? Is this something to sue about? Is it something to be upset about? Rikers Island is always in the news for something negative. And now they have a bunch of people suing New York, because they didn't allow people to go outside when they were supposed to. And next we have news for our students. I don't know if this is good news or bad news. I don't know. But students are getting closer to the school year, at least out here in New York City, we are. And they are saying New York City public school students will receive new student Omni cards for the 2026 to 2027 school year. The cards are handed out through schools and give eligible students 4 free rides every day, including weekends, holidays, and even summer break. They can be used on subway and local, limited, and select bus service buses. Students who still have last school year's card can continue using them until they receive their new Omni cards. The program gives students much more flexibility than the old student MetroCard system. But there have been complaints about the cards being too flimsy and too difficult to replace. The MTA says more durable plastic student cards are planned for the next school year in 2027 through 2028 school year. And this is just a pilot program allowing some students to tap with their phones. Is also coming underway. Every day, even weekends, holidays, and summer, they will be allowed to ride the buses for free. Now for our wow story of the week. And this was definitely an interesting one. I had to read this a couple of times because, wow. They're saying 2 men were caught at a closed mall in North Charleston, South Carolina, at around 1:45 in the morning. When police questioned them about what they were doing there, the men reportedly said that they were just looking around. But police looked a little further and found a white work van covered in grease along with equipment being used to siphon oil from a used cooking oil tank. To make matters worse, they say both men were also covered in this grease as well. After further questioning these men, police say 26-year-old Goodell Gonzalez Rodriguez and 35-year-old JBR Ivan Gonzalez admitted that they were actually there stealing used cooking oil. And apparently, there is a market for used cooking oil. One of the men told police they could get about $3 per gallon for used cooking oil. He says that he has been doing this for a while and claims that he has already made around $5,000 stealing used cooking oil. So the wow isn't just that these two men were allegedly caught covered in grease at 1 o'clock in the morning, but that there is a market out there for used cooking oil. This has been Vivian with Socially Conscious, giving you the news that we are following. And remember, if you have any wild stories that you would like to submit, please feel free to direct message me on Facebook. My username there is Vivian BM, and come back every Wednesday to find out if your story has been chosen. Thank you, as always, to our loyal viewers and our listeners, and thank you, Pastor Steph.
Thank you, Vivian. Girl, I still try to figure out where do you go to get your arsenal. Ooh-wee. All right, let's get to chatting. Let's get our lady Tamika on. Let's say good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Wow Wednesday to you. How are you, ladies?
Morning.
Wow Wednesday to you. We're well, thank you. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
Good. And let's talk to our girl Shantice. Let's say good morning. Good morning, Shantice.
How are you? I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm well, thank you. All right, let's get to chatting. Vivian is starting out with her fruit bars this morning. And the brand is, Outshine?
Yes.
Outshine brand, and all of everybody's favorite grape and watermelon and all that kind of good stuff. Recall on these fruit bars because they have found pieces of glass in the frozen fruit bars. Where do you go from here, Lady Tamika?
You do like me and you make your own. No, but it is sad. I do like the Outshine bars. Our favorite is mango. So I would be outside of that realm, but still, anytime that I see recalls on something, I'm like, it's going to hit the thing that I like too. So I'm going to just stop all of it. It's easier to just, it may be more time consuming, yes, and it may take up, but if you make your own, you know what's in it. You don't have to worry about glass.
Okay. Glass in the fruit bars. Shantice.
Why? My lady Tamika said, now, this not only had me looking at the other flavors, now I'm looking at other ices. Like, what do y'all have up in here? Because why? How does glass end up in ices that are wrapped up in plastic? What part of the manufacturing process requires glass? That glass would now end up in it. And yes, adult eats these as well, but ices are primarily for children. So now I'm possibly serving my child glass. Like I saw a post, this guy say, they just trying to take us out. Just say you want to take us out. How would glass even end up in there? Like that's the breakdown I'm waiting to hear.
All righty. Vivian, glass in your Outshine fruit bars.
And those are one of my favorite brands because I can't have the milk. So I go to that because it's real fruit. So like Lady Tamika, I'm just going to be off Outshine altogether. It don't matter what flavors is actually being recalled. I'm just going to have to be good off that for a little bit. But it had to be done during the them making it at the factory and things like that because there's no glass being used around that product. So it had to be something going on at the factory. But yeah, definitely, again, another instance where somebody's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And it took for somebody to be eating this to find the glass. Thank God nobody has been hurt. No reports have been made that anyone has been hurt, but definitely like dumb. Like, can we get this together? Everything's being recalled. You'll say it all the time, Pastor. We're going to be standing in the corner, staring at each other, wondering what we're going to do because everything's being recalled.
Absolutely. Clearly, glass is not supposed to be near whatever this manufacturing process is, but, is it made in, a place where there's windows and some window got broken? And
Right.
My question is, how did y'all figure out glass was in it? Did somebody actually have it and now you paid someone off not to talk? Because how would you know?
Right.
Did you come across it and you realize then, that broken window, there's you found some shattered glass somewhere near, this place here. So it's weird. This one is a weird one. This is definitely a weird one, but nonetheless, I'm with you ladies. We're getting closer and closer to just having to make our own everything. Really, really having to make our own everything. And that's just the bottom line to it. Even down to our fruit bars, just eating the fruit and just hoping that whatever they, however they send us our fruit, we don't have to worry about that. So get to making your own stuff, everybody. Get to make your own stuff. We got a check-in from Ms. Grace officially. Good morning, Ms. Grace. Thank you so much for joining us. All righty. We're moving on to our second item. Rikers Island is the topic. We haven't had it in a quick moment, but they're back in the news again, where a group of former detainees are suing because their rec time, which is mandated at least an hour a day, they did not receive. And one individual says that in the year of 2025, that 33 out of 40 days he was not allowed outside. Now, this is working on the taxpayers' dollars, where Vivian just said that fiscal year, they set aside $3 billion for jail operations. And that's half a million dollars per inmate, Viv. Is that right?
Yeah, at one point they were giving $500,000 per inmate.
Wow. Right, child. I think I'm about to convert this house. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Next time y'all see me, I might be not Pastor Steph, but Warden Steph. All right? Oh, my goodness gracious. And they're trying to figure out, at that rate, why are their basic requirements not fulfilled? And ultimately, a bigger question. I'm not getting there yet. Don't go there yet. Shantice, Rikers Island, group of former detainees suing.
It's sad when I can sue and I was the criminal. Why don't we keep giving people the ability to have these abilities? Why? it just reminds me of that the KKK guy that Will and Martin kidnapped in Bad Boys 2 to help them canvas and surveillance the boat. And when they got him out of the trunk, all he kept saying was, "I know my rights. He's violating my rights." So that's all I keep hearing. And it's like, well, why? Why are we giving them the opportunity to be able to say this? You got money to just open the door and say, "Be free for an hour." How hard was that? How hard was that to do? To just let them go outside. They're still caged in. You ain't say you could run to the corner store real quick and they took 8 hours to come back. And now you saying, listen. It was only at the corner. You took 8 hours. So you just lost your privileges. They're still within your grips there. You still have control. What is the problem? So now because you wanted to be ignorant, they can now take you for more money than what you got for them. Winner.
All righty. Viv, what say you?
I agree. Why are we allowing it to where somebody now comes up out of Rikers from doing something they weren't supposed to be doing, and now they have an opportunity to sue the city? The city. Why? Don't y'all already have to pay enough money to people that y'all locked up and y'all wasn't supposed to lock them up?
Right.
Every day I'm seeing stories of this person spent this amount of time in jail and was wrongfully convicted, and now he's getting this amount of money. Now you got people suing the city because y'all couldn't give them 1 hour a day. That's absolutely insane. Really stupid. And I really want to know the reasoning. It couldn't have been that bad, that low staff, that y'all couldn't find a way to let these people outside for an hour a day. I really want to know the backstory. 33 days is insane.
All righty. Lady Tamika.
With all of the things that are already out there and money being put in all types of different places, you had one job, just one. You had to take these people from one place to another, sit outside, stand there, watch, bring them back inside an hour later, and you shirked your responsibility. And we understand that the way that the penal system works, a lot of times when they're inside, they don't have the access and things that they need, lawyers and those type of things. And a lot of times even if they go through court, a lot of their cries are not heard. So they wait till they get on the outside. Now I'm going to see you. And now I'm going to get money for the times that I didn't get out. The sad part about it is the burden of proof comes on them. How can you validate that in 2023 you didn't get such and such and such? You better have a good lawyer, because how to advocate after being out is very difficult. It's just as difficult as doing it on the inside. But we shouldn't even have to. We shouldn't be here. If you just did the one job that you get paid to do, we wouldn't be here to begin with.
I'm with you, ladies. How do we get ourselves in such stupid jams? Well, here's a problem that I also see. So you got more than one person complaining about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, could we say that they didn't all got themselves together and lied? We could, but because of their history, because of these people's history of robbing them of just simple rights, because we've done stories about how nasty the conditions were in Rikers, because they have been shown, we've seen video and pictures of the conditions inside there. It's so easy to believe, because they've had so many accusations as correction officers about doing it. Remember the supervisor, one of the captains, was hiring people to drive her around and all kinds of stuff. I mean, because they've got so much in their arsenal of complaints, this ain't gonna be a hard. This not gonna be a hard win.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be a hard win. Now, the question of 33 days out of 40, this is because y'all took your power and you went crazy with it.
Mhm.
That you thought that this was not gonna come back to haunt you. That you thought that once they got out, that's all they were gonna do was get out. That they were not gonna turn around and see this again. Because everybody looking for a dollar. Not only that, keep in mind, like Vivian said, Rikers is pretty much a detainee facility. When you're at Rikers, you can only do a maximum of like 24 to 27 months there, because either you're fighting a charge or you've been sentenced to lower than 2 years pretty much. So you really ain't got no whole lot of time there. Number two, I don't know how many people realize that most of the COs live in New York City.
Yes.
I've known people to have said they have been on Rikers Island as inmates and ran into the COs on the outside. You really want to take that chance? Yo, you out of control. So I don't believe this is going to be a hard sell personally. I believe what they said. I believe that the COs did exactly what they said that they didn't do. And y'all gonna make these people eat. And those people, that's us. Now you got $500,000 on an inmate. Oh my gosh. For somebody who gonna be in there less than 2 years, or a maximum of 2 years, whichever way you want to look at it. $500 million. Man, I'm with Vivian. I'm converting this house as of today. I'm sorry. I was trying to figure out how to make some extra money. Questions have been answered. Won't he do it? We're surge when you need them. Man, yeah, this is stupid. This is a real stupid. Should they be allowed to sue is Vivian's big question. Shantice, what say you? Should they be allowed to sue?
Yes. Because it's not up to us to determine what they deserve. If it is the law, the rules, for you to give them the 1 hour a day, unless they do something during the day to violate that privilege, then that's something different. But just to not, it's like you saying, you know what, you don't deserve to eat today. You might not deserve to eat today, but am I the one who can make that call? No. So I do my job. A lot of this is from laziness too. I don't want to do my job. I do my job and I let you go outside. And like it's been said, bring back in and everybody skip to our loo and go throughout the rest of your day. But because I did not follow the rules, yes, I'm here to enforce the rules, but now I'm making my own rules. No. So unfortunately, now they have the right to sue.
All righty. Vivian, should they be able to sue?
Yes. Yes, they should. Isn't jail supposed to be a place where they are being reformed? How are you reforming me, but you making me insane because I ain't seen the sun in 33 days out of 40 days? Now I get out and I'm buck wild. So yes, because they believe out there, I don't know why they believe this, because everything that happens in Rikers Island gets put out in the news, but they believe that they are untouchable out there. And you can tell by the things that they do, like not letting people outside for 33 days. They believe that they are untouchable, and they need to see that that is not the case. And if that means that the city gets sued in order for y'all to do something about what's happening over there, then that is what it is.
All righty. Lady Tamika, should they be able to sue?
Absolutely. You think about how we lived during the pandemic and the end result when we finally got out. People, not only that, when you think about it, being outside, something as simple as getting the sun in your face is very physically therapeutic, and being cooped in for whatever period. If we're talking about this gentleman, 33 out of 40, so you only got basically a week, and 9 times out of 10, they didn't give him, those days one right behind the other. You just kind of staggered him, just enough to keep him from losing his mind. I think it's, that they should have a right. Believe it or not, unfortunately, people don't believe it, but they are people too. And so they have rights just like we do.
All righty. Yes, absolutely. When your rights are violated, yeah, we may not think that, inmates have rights, but, as Vivian said, if they're there for us, for them to be reformed, or they're already being punished. We don't have the right to further punish them.
Right.
So, who are we? And here's the thing, you're so stupid because, it's not an easy job, but a lot of them, they clock over 6 figures in overtime and all kinds of things, doing that job. That's why they run up on that job, because all they talk about is, I get overtime, because overtime takes them into some crazy dollars. So now you have lost sight of why you're there, and you have mismanaged your duties. So yes, they have every right to sue. And unfortunately, it's unlike what Shantice always says, hit them in their pocket.
Yes.
Hit them in their pocket. Take away those pensions. Take away that money that they got. No, you don't take away from everybody else. No, let them get it in their pockets. Let that lawsuit money come from their pockets. Them and their buddies will learn to do what they're supposed to do. That one job that they're supposed to do it correctly. So, oh well. Good for them. Good for them and good for them. All righty. Vivian is telling us that students will receive Omni cards by this upcoming school year. They have 4 free rides a day, and that's every day. That's Monday through Friday when they're in school. That is weekends and holidays, and even through the summer breaks. They can use them on bus and trains, and they're complaining about the cars that are being too flimsy. But we know for a fact that students were able to get bus and train passes in the past. All of us, as far as I graduated in 84. Even back then, they were giving bus and train passes. But now this is a new thing. Vivian, what say you? Have they gone overboard with the allowance?
I mean, I would say yes, but at the same time, nobody pays for the bus and train anymore. So just give everybody free rides. I feel like that's the whole reason for them doing this. It's nice for you to be able to say that you're giving it to the kids for the summer, for the holidays. They can go where they want. But for one, these kids are not out here doing anything productive. So now you giving them a free ride to be outside on the weekends, during the summer, on school breaks, for them to do what? They ain't making good choices. And then that's a lot of money going towards these cards. When a lot of people are complaining that they have problems with these cards, they don't work. And I still see kids having this in their pockets and still walking on the bus like they're supposed to be on there for free. So it really don't make a difference. This is just a way for MTA to get their money, in my opinion.
Okay. Lady Tamika.
I love the fact that we are simply waiting for our fares to go up. That's basically what's going to happen. We all know it. We see it. It's almost as if, like, you see the handwriting on the wall. You want to say something, you want to do something, but then it's like, what do I do? And I get it that the children should be taken care of when they're in school, blah blah blah. But you got four fairs a day, so you go to school, you come home. Where else should you be going during school day? I mean, okay, fine. Maybe mom picks you up, that type of thing. And then you got the summer months and you're not, what are you doing? And I look at all of the things all of the problems we currently have. You think about subway surfing. So you gave this child a fare for this child to get on top of the train to ride to his or her death. And so it's scary because my thing is, do you provide it for them? Or do you not provide? I remember when we did have them, they were for to school, back home. That's it.
That's right.
And then they realized that you had some students who had Saturday school. So then they extended it. So now you got Monday through Saturday. Now you're going to give them everything, including the summer months when they should be home or, within walking distance, or, being taken to wherever. Do they really need that much freedom? The very scary thing that we're dealing with.
Brought up some good points, ladies. Shatis.
We got the money. Give them kids them cards. Either way, they going because you can. You're not making anyone pay anyway. Them kids, if they have something productive to do, they're going to get on the bus. If they don't have anything productive to do, they still gonna find a way to get on the bus. We keep showing we got the money. Give them the cards, and instruct them on whatever. Because let's be real. Somehow the students always found a way to use the restricted Metro cards during the non-allowance times anyway. I just never understood it. So the adults have the credit card scam, the kids had the Metro card scam. You always found a way, and there were a few kids who would get caught. But for the most part, what you doing using the school Metro card on Thanksgiving? Ain't no school today. Ain't no school today. It's Thanksgiving. What you doing using this card on Christmas? There is no school today. I don't care what religion you are. Ain't no school. What are you doing? You ain't gonna visit this card. But guess what they did? They were able to insert that card and mosey on down that bus. So, whatever. Give them these cards. Maybe, how about taking some of this money and maybe having people go to the school to maybe have something to do during the times. Oh! Wait, no, that would only make sense. But yeah, give the kids these cards. We got the money. All right.
Wow. So I'm going to take y'all back a little bit. So when I was in high school, we had tokens. So they would give anybody, I was high school now, and junior high school, you would get a bus pass or a train pass that you would flash, because they're not going to give you tokens. You just flash your bus pass. And those were for children who traveled, who needed to travel to get to school. Now, it did not include elementary school because it has always been a mandate that you were able to walk to your local school. Junior high schools, now tend to be a little out there, so they would give you the pass. After a while, you got moving on many, many years down the line, when they started doing Metro cards, that's what they would do. Like someone said, you had 2 rides a day, because that's all you took, Lady Tamika, because that's all you needed. You needed to go there and come back. That's it. That's all they gave you, because it was truly used for school. And there was no need for anything else. So more recently, they started giving, more kids passes, Metro cards. And now we've graduated to just giving them free rides. That's what this is. We're not going to call it a school pass because it's not for school. Well, clearly it's not for school if you can use it 24 hours a day.
Right.
Because you can't now mandate the time. You didn't already let up the day. So what? Do you think these bus drivers and these people are going to be looking at when you use the card? Why? Who was sitting at the boardroom table and said,
Mm-hmm.
let's
Mm-hmm.
just give these kids a card. They could use it on the weekends. They could use it during holidays. They could use. Why would we? Why would we ever believe that children, young people, need access to anywhere they want to go? Why? What we haven't we seen evidence
Right.
of, like Lady Tamika said, haven't we seen evidence of what they do? Both all of you have said, yeah, they've shown what they're going to do with it. And now, carte blanche. When I tell you this world is coming to an end, where's Pastor Kim when you need her? This the end times. Because who in the world thought that this would be a good idea to give teenagers? We didn't cover this story, and I don't think Shantice covered it last week. But out in Manhattan on Dykeman, they were going to again swarm some area. They had plans, like they did up in Bay Plaza. They had plans to do
Yeah.
this, and
Well,
it got thwarted.
Right.
So now here you go. Those who live somewhere way out can now make their way there because
And why is little Johnny coming back at 9:30 in the evening? What school is still open?
right. Because I remember when I was going to night school, they gave you like an extra. You mentioned, Lady Tamika, they gave you an extra fare. So they would give you an extra fare if you went to night school because you had to travel. And you did come home at 9 o'clock because you were traveling. Night school wasn't across the street from your house. You had to travel. So, back they went from giving justified reason to not having a justified reason. All right, we got some comments going on. Serge says, don't use my slogan, Pastor, without me. I'm sorry, Serge. I'm sorry. I couldn't find you at the time. Oh, Brother Al is in the room. Good morning, Brother Al. He says, chop, chop of the morning, ladies. Teresa says, I think it's up to the parents to monitor their children. Absolutely. But if I didn't just gave you a whole bunch of free rides, yeah, okay. Good luck. Pastor KL, good morning. Thank you for joining us. He says, way back tokens. Absolutely. Serge says, especially hearing them riding, going inside the train's cab area to mess with the train by moving it. Yeah, this is what we opening up the doors for. Al says, it goes to what I've been saying all along. The school system is hurting our children because they're letting our children do what they want to do with no repercussions. Pastor KL says, do they even have night school anymore? I'm sure. They probably need it now more than ever. And Anika says, goodbye to accountability for knowing where your children are. Absolutely. Especially for those of us who have no control. Our children are going to be all over the place. Compliments of the school system. Woo. Boy, oh boy. We in trouble, y'all. All righty. 2 men caught at a closed mall at about 1:45 a.m. They said they were just looking around, but the cops decided to do a little more digging because they had oil all over them. They found this white work van siphoning oil from a truck, and later they admitted to stealing used oil. There is a market for this thing here, used cooking oil. He says he can get up to $3 per gallon for this used cooking oil. And they have been doing it for so long that he's managed to pull in $5,000 for this crime. Used cooking oil, Lady Tamika.
Now, you just mentioned about trying to find a source of income.
There you go.
I got it. There it is right there. Between the four of us, I know for a fact we are cookies. Neither one of them would have to go to jail. Javier would be cool. Gadiel would be fine. Not a problem. No, y'all decide to go somewhere where you're not supposed to be and steal not brand new oil, used cooking oil. You got it all over you. Anybody that's ever got popped with some bacon grease or chicken grease or whatever, that's an awful feeling. Even if you get it on your hands, you soaked in oil because you're trying to steal cooking oil. Listen, there are plenty of people that can hand you cooking oil. You know, the many times that I've taken oil and I'm trying to figure out, okay, do I put it in the toilet? Do I put it in the sink? Do I put it in the garbage? I don't have to worry about it. I could just send it to you. What in the world? Of all the things, of all the plans, of all the devices to come up with, who thinks of cooking oil? And then my thing is, in addition to that, you're not even really making real money, but that's what you want to do to make the dollar. You can come to my house. Trust me, we got plenty of oil for you.
Are you telling me that Brother Al has not found a device for where you can put used cooking oil?
Not yet. I got it in a cup inside some aluminum foil, but give him a few days. He's listening. He might find something.
Oh, goodness gracious. But speaking of Brother Al, he says, I'm in the wrong business. I know quite a few Chinese restaurants that need to get rid of some oil. Oh, Al, please don't turn my stomach. Oh, Shantice. Use cooking oil.
Obviously, they never worked in a restaurant. Because if you saw how the oil looked by the time it's time to close,
my goodness.
You sooner drink the gasoline you put in your car. I've watched them. I ain't gonna say which restaurant.
Doesn't matter.
For those who know me, know which restaurants I worked at, so just do process of elimination. I've watched them dispose of the oil, and I'm like, is this the oil from when they founded the restaurant? Or is this from just today? Yes. So what market is using this oil? Is this to cover up some trafficking ring or something? Like to put over the drugs so that when the hounds come out to sniff it, they smell that before they smell like what are you using this for? And then you getting $3 a gallon. You make more money pumping gas, sir. At least you'll probably get some tips. Go to Jersey where they pump gas for you. Let me tell you something. Nobody trying to hear about you pumping gas for them in New York. That ain't happening. Well, go to Jersey where they're a little lackadaisical with that. And when we travel out of New York, we get a little relief because we don't have to get out to pump our gas. Pump that gas and make your tips and goes home and eat a pot pie or something. This here is like, who sat and said, oh, you know what I saw in the shade room? There's a market for oil. And the other one's probably like, how we gonna get our hand on gasoline? No, bro, no, the cooking oil. Oh, so now let's go steal the canteens because you're not about to invest in anything. And you're not gonna invest because you ain't making no money. Let's go steal the canteens, and now let's walk around the malls while they're closed to make us look even more sus. Cause anybody else there, and you didn't even. There's nothing else you could have even said to the cops. What are you doing around there? Sweeping? You're painting. There's nothing else to do around the mall when the mall is closed. And people don't believe they need Jesus. Jesus will always give you something new. This here is just remedial at its best.
Oh my goodness. Brother Al and Serge have me cracking up. So Al says, thanks, Pastor Steph, for the idea. I'm on Temu now looking for something to put the oil in. Oh my goodness. Serge says, especially McDonald's. McDonald's. McDonald's is nasty after closing.
Absolutely.
Vivian, this your story.
So many questions. You talking about who had the bright idea to go steal the cooking oil? My question is, who had the bright idea to pay?
That's where I was going.
What? I need used cooking oil so badly that I'm gonna pay somebody $3 a gallon to go and bring me used cooking oil? What is happening in this world? I really want to know what is this oil being used for? $3 a gallon for used cooking oil. This man was able to make $5,000 stealing used cooking oil.
I'm telling you, it's to cover up the drugs.
It has to be something bigger. It has to be. I don't understand. And then you tell the police they find you in a used clothes mall at 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:45 in the morning, and you say, "Oh, we're just looking around." So you expected them to be like, "Oh, okay, have a good night, be safe." What is happening? What is happening? This is a very wild story. This whole thing is just wild. Like, what? I don't understand it.
They were counting the bricks outside the mall.
That's what I thought. I thought the very question. I'm like, okay, so like Shanti said, this is late at night, overnight. And you just got spotted walking around an empty mall. And they ask you, again, where's the plan? And I have to add, where is the good plan? Because there is no good plan. My second question was what you said, Vivian. Who's paying for used oil?
The cartel. Tell me, that's going to be the next story.
I gotta believe that more than I want to believe that somebody is paying to use this to cook with, because there is a process that I have heard of where they can clean the oil.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we do it here when we're frying chicken. You clean your oil. You don't just keep using and you got all that stuff at the bottom because it starts to burn and the food don't cook right and so forth and so on. And generally they get rid of the oil. But I didn't know it was sitting up in a truck. How do you know? That's my question. That's the other question. How do you know that this truck is holding used oil? How do you know that they haven't gotten rid of it? Why is this common knowledge? I have tons of questions. Some ain't making sense to me. How do you know that if I linger around after this is closed, this mall is closed, what, 10? Here I done waited till 1:45 in the morning before I go around to the trucks and start ciphering.
Help.
Yeah. This here.
This is worse than when they were ciphering the gas out the cars during Sandy. No, not Sandy. During that other storm and during COVID. And everyone had to get locks put on their gas thing on their car because people were just going around on the residential blocks ciphering gas.
And how do you cipher oil? Isn't it on the inside of the truck? So you got to break it. So already you have committed a crime. So already, before you got the gas, before you got the oil, you've committed a crime. So once you got the oil on you, there's the evidence right there. Come on. Oh my goodness. Pastor KL says, why does the restaurant still have old oil in the building at the end of the night? Don't they discard it? That's what I'm asking. What happened that they still oil? Right. It's sitting in the truck.
No,
Nah,
it stays. Sometimes it stays in the restaurant and gets reused the next day.
right, but that's in the restaurant. We're talking about it once they've taken it to the truck. Isn't why are you sitting with it in the truck? Why don't you
The
take it
men,
to go?
the men took it out the truck or out the mall.
They
I
were
don't
taking
know.
it from a tank.
Right, that's what she said.
Mm.
So I'm like, well, what in the world? You got to break in to do that.
Right.
That's what I said. Already, you've committed a crime. You going to jail for breaking and entering, and whatever other charges they come up with. Al says the big question is, what are they using the oil for? It's got to be some type of use because somebody is paying for it. Yeah, that's why I'm not. As nasty as it is and as quickly as you could believe, I don't think it's for food. I
It's
don't
for
think it's for food.
drugs.
I don't think it's for food. Whatever it is, it's nasty. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, that's listen. And it's as dangerous as gasoline because if somebody were to try to smoke a cigarette and you got all that oil on your clothes, that's right, it's flammable.
And one
So
of them would do that. They'll be so stressed from having to wait around so long after having to stake out for this truck and then get mad when some of it spills on them. They go just sit on the side of the curb and light a cigarette and kaboom! There goes the $3 a gallon.
I tell you, I don't understand that the thought process. We're getting more desperate and more desperate and more desperate, and this is where we're going. But I'd really like to know what this is used for. I'm with everybody else because I don't personally believe it's cooking. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Something's up. Something's up. I don't know what it is, but something's up. Woo! Thank you, Vivian, for those socially conscious items. And we need to really be socially conscious about our thoughts and our plans. All right, I got a dilemma for y'all. Let's see if it's truly a dilemma. So I check in, the advice column. Every once in a while, I'll find something interesting because I want to see what advice people actually get when they go for their dilemmas. So this time, I'm going to read you the dilemma and I'm going to read you the answer because I need you to respond. Is this God? I've been a widow for 9 years and just got engaged. When I asked my fiance if I could put a picture of my late husband in our new home, he became upset. He said he shouldn't have to walk into his own home and look at pictures of a man who once had me. Ah! I have 3 kids with my late husband. We were high school sweethearts, and I took his death extremely hard. I can't help but think that my fiance is overreacting. I feel he wants me to just erase everything I had with my husband. My kids will be living with us too. Should I respect his wishes or should I stand my ground and make sure my late husband's memory is alive for the sake of my children? So I'm going to let you marinate on that for like 15 seconds. So here's the response. I hope you recognize that this is a huge red flag. Your fiance is jealous and insecure. If he would be upset seeing a photograph of your late husband, how is he going to feel when he interacts with your children who are living symbols of the love you shared with another man? You are entitled to display a picture of their father if you wish. It needn't be as large as a political poster, nor hung in the front hall. It is important that you have further discussions about this with your fiance and, if you are wise, premarital counseling until this issue is resolved. Shanties, you got first dibs. Is this God?
No. Wait, which God? Not the one and only true living God. But the lowercase g gods. Yes. The whatever the remedial God. That's what this is. What it if you're still not over your late husband's passing, well, why do you have a fiance? Why? Isn't that an indication of you wanting to move on? So I want to move on for what? Status? For intercourse? For social media? But now I want us to be able to move on mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, even though I'm not really moving on. And now I expect him to be okay with a portrait, a wallet size, a story on my Instagram, anything with he's supposed to be able to walk in here and see a picture of him as if this like we're siblings and this is our father, our late father. And it's supposed to be, oh, okay, why? Move on. And I just had a conversation with someone the other day about because I had to send them the verse where I believe it's in Ecclesiastes. The God says, those who are alive know that they're dying, but the dead know nothing, and the memory of them is forgotten. And they're like, oh, well, I didn't forget my such and such. And I'm like, in the masses, in the masses. I said, listen, my grandmother passed. I love my grandmother. But when I really think about it, I ain't think about her yesterday. And it ain't no shade. And guess what? She don't feel slighted because she's gone. She ain't text me and ask, yo, Shanti, did you think about me yesterday? She ain't here. I noticed the other day that I normally have her, the funeral cards. I normally have it propped up. I came home and put my headset down and put this all on her. And as I walked up the closet, I was like, oh, hey, Grandma, where you at? You ain't mad because you hidden up under the headphones. You ain't here. So why now it's too much of us trying to keep these people alive when God has said, I have closed their eyes. It doesn't mean you stop missing them. It doesn't mean the love that you have for them wasn't genuine and now it's lost because you're not walking around with them everywhere. That's not what it means. But if you claim that you're moving on, why are you now dragging this man down? Let this man be free and go and propose to somebody else, because obviously you're still married. You are still married. Okay? So you and your husband, because this is a red flag for him, because you're not getting married to her. You're marrying him and her. And I don't know if you want to be about that life, sir. So no, just stop. You need to let it go. And your children have nothing to do with him. Your children are your children. They have nothing to do with who's no longer here. So that piece of advice of, well, how would he feel about moving in with children? That's a separate entity. That has nothing to do with that. But no, she still hasn't let go. She still wants to hold on. Let her hold on, and you move on with your life because she hasn't moved on.
Vivian, I've been a widow for 9 years and just got engaged.
She needs to stay a widow a little longer because she's not over her husband at all. And you know how they go back when people get some type of status, they go back into their social medias and they find, oh, this person was posting racist things. This person was posting anti-gay things. Maybe we need to go back. Well, not we, because I'm married, but maybe y'all need to go back into their social media and see what their comments were. Because for people to be posting comments like this, talk about this is a red flag and you need to go to marriage counseling until this is resolved. If I found out somebody was posting stuff like this, I don't want to deal with you. Because that's a red flag. Like, what are you talking about? Why are we promoting this? You feel comfortable putting that on social media? Th- that's and she ain't mentioned the kids not once until she wanted to get her way. You ain't thinking about them kids. You thinking about yourself. They ain't gonna forget their late dad because there's no picture of him in the home.
Mhm.
It's last and evil days. This is for that to be the comment is ridiculous.
Mm, mm. All righty, let me get this comment out the way before Lady Tamika. Pastor KL says, I think depending on how old the children are, a photo of him and the children on the child's dresser may be okay. Mm, my sentiments. Those are my sentiments. All right, Lady Tamika, have at it.
So my thing is we're talking about 9 years, and no one can tell you how to grieve. But, there is a premise for what you're doing. You want to put a picture up. Where did we decide to put this picture up? Is this one of those pictures like this one that's sitting right in front of my bed? Like, so when I
No,
go to
no,
bed,
no. Hold on. Let me answer your question.
okay.
Is Vivian's picture behind her head?
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
I mean, can
That's the
you
answer.
imagine? That's exactly it. Can you imagine as a spouse, before you go to bed at night, you got to go look at this picture, not of you and your current wife, but this ex? Like, it all depends, because the children are living with you. You have small children, put it in the children's room, no problem. We're sitting in the living room
Right.
watching TV. I got to look at the TV, and before I can look at the TV on the coffee table, I see a picture of the husband. Like, we've seen plenty of other movies where you see the deceased person sitting there, and it's like, okay, so give and take, and a lot of times in marriage there is this pull and push, and there's this communication that's necessary. But for you to stand flat-footed and decide that you're gonna put this picture up or not, maybe, okay, you took 9 years to grieve, maybe you need 9 more years. And to the gentleman who's getting ready to marry you, he might think about it, because that is clearly a red flag. Because she's not, it's one thing to grieve, and that's acceptable, but I gotta live with this picture every day when I come into the bedroom, on the coffee table, social media. I'm looking for your social media, all of a sudden this picture keeps popping up every day because you put it on your story every day, and I got to keep living in the past. How do you live in the past and the future, or the past and the present at the same time? You're punishing this individual.
Mm, mm. All right, so I want to do something here. And I'm surprised Shantice didn't do it. Grieve. Let's look up the definition of grieve.
Oh,
To grieve means to feel or show deep sadness or sorrow, usually because someone has died or because of another major loss. It can also mean to make someone else feel deeply sad or distressed, or to file a formal complaint or grievance in a workplace or union setting.
I was gonna do that,
Celebrate-
but another way.
No, you just went all psycho on us.
That's enough to make you go postal.
All right. Hold on. We got another comment before I go any further. Serge says, I wouldn't like having a picture of another man looking at me through my new home. Nobody else would either, Serge. No one else would either. So I'm going to give two scriptures because I'm hearing this word grieve quite often. Not even in this setting, but grieve. A, the scripture that says there's a time and place for everything. The whole beginning of Ecclesiastes, I think it's 11, am I right? I could be wrong, but Ecclesiastes, I know it's that. There's a time for this, there's a time for that, there's a time to laugh, there's a time to cry, there's a time for this, there's a time for that. The Lord takes care of everything right there. There's another scripture that the Lord himself asked Samuel when he had to advise Saul that he was no longer the king because of his disobedience and God's displeasure of his behavior. Okay. So Saul was dethroned and David was given his seat. And Samuel was aware of this thing. And God came back and asked Samuel, how long are you going to grieve for Saul? Period. Now, I'm going to use this globally because, again, I always like to say that the scripture is narrow but broad, broad but yet narrow. He was talking about the fact that you know the deal here. Why are you all twisted because Saul is no longer on the throne when it was you who I was using to send the messages back and forth as to what he was supposed to do? And you saw firsthand that he was not handling business properly according to my dictate. Well, we can also ask and stop right there. How long will you grieve for? Grieving is not supposed to be forever. How do I know? Because it says a time and a place for everything. Let me help y'all understand something. When you're in a grieving state, do you realize you're robbing God of his glory and honor? We have forgotten that God decided to close that person's eyes. And I think it was you who said it, Shantice. God made the decision. So now as a Christian person, we grieving 4, 5, 6 years, grieving. Let's think about this thing. Let's go back to this definition of grieve. To grieve means to feel or show deep sadness or sorrow. Just like you said, Shantice, when your grandmother first passed away, or when these people first pass away, it's fresh. This is the first time we're trying to deal with this separation and all the things that they meant to us and all the things that they did for us and all the experiences that we exchanged and had and things like that. You cannot clearly be in no deep sadness or sorrow 4, 5, 9 years later, and God get any glory out of your life, or God get the glory out of your life that he should. Because when you're in that deep sorrow and sadness, what are you focusing on, ladies? Just say it. Just tell me. What do you think you're focusing on?
What you missed out on, or what you only focusing on the negative.
Right. So where is God being glorified here? He never said that you should not be in a deep sadness or sorrow, because he said there is a time. But he had to come back and ask Saul, yo, how long are we going through this? Because you can't fulfill what I need you to do when I got to watch you over here. I'm supposed to be waiting for you to get through this here.
Not only that, Pastor Steph, remember Aaron wasn't allowed to grieve his son's death at all. His 2 sons were killed suddenly. He wasn't allowed to grieve at all, especially to make sure he was able to maintain the holy rituals. So you talking about meaning this lady, you talking about wanting to grieve for 9 years plus, and this man wasn't allowed to grieve for 9 seconds.
Right. Also because of the lifestyle that they lived.
That the sons were living. So you're publicly grieving this. Now, what is that saying to the onlookers about the choice that God made to punish them?
That's my point.
Death. Right, with the death. So now you're saying that, God was wrong for punishing them for what they did because it was so heavy, their deed was so heavy that death was the only punishment that was suitable for them. So now you grieving in front of these very people is now saying that God got this all wrong and my sons didn't really deserve that. Now on top of that, how are you not performing these holy rituals? if you're now saying that the ones with performing these holy rituals too was wrong, and it's like
Not
we
only
don't
that, back
know.
in those days, there was a process to all of this. So when
Mm-hmm.
someone died, because remember, they were priests.
Right.
So when someone died, you spent this many days, grieving, and sackcloth and ashes, and you spent
Mm-hmm.
time. You did nothing else but grieve. You focused on the death, and you had to say these prayers, and there was a ritual to this. So now you have this woman who has this man's been dead 9 years. So I agree with every one of you ladies, then there's no room for this new man. If you feel that you need a picture like Viv behind her head in the house to show this man, and if you don't put him out there like that, he's never existed.
Right.
He's not going to eliminate. His life is not going to be eliminated because his picture's not there. The first thing I thought about is what Pastor KL suggested. Let the children have pictures in their room. If they want to have pictures in their room. We actually are going through this in my house right now. To be honest. We're actually going through this in my house. My daughter wants to put up a picture of her father, and I said, put it in your room. You can look at him all day, every day. Put him in your room. Not because I never cared, never loved him, but listen, I'm done with that chapter. Yes, he was who he is and blah, 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 blah. But guess what? If he means that much to you, set him up in your room. There's no problem with how you want to remember this ex-husband, but you can't flaunt him in front of the new husband. How are you going to convince this man that he's the love of your life when you got all the pictures, and because I'm sure she got some clothes that she done held on to, and that picture, y'all, ain't the only thing. Why? Because
Not
the
at
Lord
all.
says that unstable man is unstable in all his ways. There's some other remnants of him hanging around. Would anybody agree with me?
Yes.
His part of the closet has the old husband's clothes.
Yeah.
When is
I'm
he
not
gonna
believing
wear
it.
it?
Right.
It's
Maybe
still
the
on the
new husband
hanger.
is supposed to wear it, Lady
Oh
Tamika.
no, people like that. No, you can't touch. You can't touch. But it still needs to be on a hanger. I may even iron it, but it
Yeah.
needs to be there, because folding it up and putting it away or giving it away is now giving him away. So it still needs to be very much present in this house.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. When they started dating and he first went to the house, oh, there was husband everywhere.
Oh my gosh, yes.
There was ex-husband everywhere. And the reason why they're down to the picture is because he's probably had to speak to her about everything else that was in the house that was ex-husband.
But
Oh,
then
he
they say
did.
something about moving into a new house. That's
Yes.
yeah.
That's probably why they're going into a new house, because he's trying to get her to leave this old stuff, and she wants to still bring the old husband into the new house. How disrespectful! Now, the thing that kind of made me surprised was I was really surprised at the response
Right.
when she said that he was jealous. I was like,
I'm not jealous when he's
wow.
gone. What am I
Wow.
jealous of?
Jealous and insecure. And this is where I always say, be careful of your counsel.
But it's jealous and insecure, but it's, and I will never forget. I will never ever forget someone asking me, why do you always have to flip it? Because that's when people get it. It's almost like cursing. You just don't understand the plight until the cuss words come out. Okay? So you're telling this woman that her new soon to be husband is jealous because he now has to endure seeing remnants of the old. Now let's flip this. You come home and your soon to be new husband has his deceased wife underwear still in his drawer. Now we know she ain't here to wear it, but you would be okay with that? You're okay with seeing pictures of them booed up on vacations and hugging up, and when you overhear him talking to his boys, he's talking about conversations they've had, things they used to do, times when he used to sleep with her, because that will come up. You're okay with that, even though you know that she's gone, she's no longer on the earth, but you're okay with that? Absolutely not. You be done started plotting the crime and everything. But now
No,
you're
you know
telling
what?
this woman that
Go ahead,
he's
go ahead.
jealous, and all it would take would be for you to see him smile at the memory of her, and you be contemplating the murder.
And that's where my brain went. But you know where my head went? Ooh, Sonia used to make some smashing mashed potatoes. She used to put the little red skin up in there, and you done just broke your back trying to make the best mashed potatoes. And he talking about how Sonia used to make the best mashed potatoes.
Oh,
And
wait,
how she
wait.
used to make chicken soup for your mother before she died.
I was just about to say, wait, don't let the mama come over and start talking about the deceased wife. He ain't even got to open his mouth. Let the mama reference the deceased wife. You'd want to chop his head off, and he ain't have nothing to do with it. He could be against the mother bringing her up. But let the mama, because you know, once the mamas find that one that they want their son to be with,
Yeah, and nobody is
she
compared
could
to
have
her.
blown up Rikers Island. It don't matter. She's the one for you. You need to go bail her out. Go make that thing work. I'll give you the money for the counseling. I'll give you the bail money. I'll give you whatever you need because she's the one for you. Now here you come, and all you gonna hear is about what she used to do. How she liked her. Yeah, absolutely. He ain't even gotta open his mouth.
Yeah, no, and that's what I thought about. I was like, if they were to flip the script and now it was him talking about the ex-wife, oh, it would be he couldn't put his head down in that house. There would be no peace. And all the kids would be talking about how you need to get rid of this man because he ain't no good. He's still living in the memory of his old wife, but yet you would counsel her. All right, ladies, a word for this woman as we go on out of here. Lady Tamika, you got first dibs on this one.
I'm sorry, I missed the statement. I apologize.
The words to the women who are in this place. What would you tell her? Going
My
out,
goodness.
closing out.
You know, you can't allow someone to continue to live in the past and then try to, you know, deal with you. You got your hand the whole entire time you looking back and not looking forward. The whole concept of them moving into a new home states that the mindset is that we have a forward disposition. We're going to move forward with this. You can't allow, you know, if it's affecting the children, then fine, let them have it in their room. But we're not going to have it plastered behind my head. We're not going to have it in front of the TV. You know, we're not going to have it posted on the bedpost. You know, there's a time and a season for the person to grieve. And if you're getting into a relationship with someone who hasn't yet gotten to that point where they've let that thing go, then there's, you know, there are things that you can do. You can minister to an individual who's hurting and wounded, you know, but I would not say for you to engage to the point where you're married now and this person is still dealing with the loss to the degree that you want to poster things up in the wall or you want to, you know, put things on social media. There, you know, there's no level of counseling to that degree today that would let you, you know, allow them to move forward and back at the same time. Don't accept that behavior because it's clearly a red flag. And for the individual who hasn't gotten themselves healed yet, you know, a lot of times we function and we are so segmented. We haven't finished this and we want to go and engage in that. And we haven't finished that and we want to go engage with that. Get yourself healed first in any capacity, whether the person is deceased or not. Sometimes we get in relationships and we go, instead of allowing ourselves to get healed, We go from this relationship to another, to
Right.
another, to another,
Right.
and you haven't gotten yourself healed. Get yourself healed before you get into another relationship and you cause trauma to a new relationship because you haven't
Mhm.
ended the other one. Just like if this person was still living, get that level of healing before you engage and do something new.
All righty. All righty. Amen. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Shantice, how are we closing out? What are we saying to these individuals?
Just focus on the Lord. He'll give you the discernment as to what to do. You know, I met someone last week, and she said her and her friends decided to go on a trip because she just lost her mom. One of the friends just lost her husband, and they didn't have an opportunity to grieve. So the trip was to grieve. And I just looked at her.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, but you're in the pool. Call me crazy. And she said it again, and I said, I really don't think you're going to grieve the way you're expecting to grieve. You know, so it's, and because people go through things and they expect to go through things, not understanding how God is showing that he got you. His word that says, I'm around the brokenhearted, I comfort the brokenhearted. That's for real. When you think you're gonna be all distraught and rolling down a river because someone passed, and yeah, you'll shed some tears and all of that, and sometimes it'll hit you in ways that you wouldn't expect, but you're not all distraught and broken up the way you expect to, but you're taking yourself down that road. Stop. Tap into the Lord and let him show you the route that you're supposed to be taking. Let him show you how he got you, how you're not going to be as broken up as you expect or you want to be. So you didn't pay money to go on a trip to cry. Well, you could have cried at home.
For free.
You could have cried at home. And so with the whole, I get like, you can't tell people when, no, you can't. But the Holy Spirit deposited in me to just let her know, you ain't gonna have to go through this process. Now you can try to take yourself down that path, but with everything else you're sharing that you're going through, maybe this is another reason why God is not going to allow you to go down that path. That's going to add extra stuff to your daily life. So stay tuned into God. Let him let you know how you should be moving, because otherwise you're just going to be taking yourself through some things that is so unnecessary.
All righty. Thank you. Thank you. Amen. Amen. Vivian, how are we closing out?
God didn't make a mistake when he closed his eyes instead of yours, and you still have work to do, which cannot be done when you're still stuck. So you, like everyone else said, you need to find healing so that you can move on to your purpose in life. It is not to sit here and grieve this man for the rest of your life. You got children that you need to help heal. You can't do that when you're still stuck on this man. So get some counseling, move forward, and live your life.
Amen. 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 Thank you very much. Serge says, I would say I'll buy her a bunch of new clothes so she doesn't have to reminisce when she wears a certain clothing. He says also, if that was hers and her late husband, we will buy a new house, anything that reminds her of him, which again is probably why they're doing this new house thing. Thank you very much, my ladies, my due time ladies. Thank you for your contribution into today's conversation, and we pray you have a blessed day.
You as well.
You too.
Yes,
Thank
Have a
you.
good day, ladies.
Yeah.
Ooh. I was looking at this letter. And something crossed my eyes. And she says that when she asked if she could put a picture up, he said he shouldn't have to walk into his own home and look at pictures of a man who once had me. So the purpose of me bringing up that statement is because it just goes to show you the vastness of the thought process, because that could have been somebody else's wouldn't have even thought of that. But in his head, he's like, yo, y'all were in this house. And again, a lot of that is probably why they're going into a new home. This is a fiance. We're planning on getting married. This is a new beginning. This is a new life. It's a new lifestyle. How are we going into something new, bringing in all of the old? So in his head, he's thinking about, listen, he didn't had you here. That's bad enough. But now I got to look at him as well. Pictures, there used to be a slogan. And the slogan used to be, pictures say 1,000 things. The reason why we take pictures is for the memories. Because it brings back fond memories, and it brings back, all of the wonderful times. And one picture may make you think of 9 other things, 9 other times. And, healing, as Shantice brought it up, comes strictly from God. I don't care. And I kind of said it, I think it was the day before yesterday, about being, going through abuse and moving on. For people who have been in abused relationships, whether it's parental or intimate, it doesn't matter. You move on, but have you really healed? A lot of times our thought is, because we've graduated into all of these different things in life, because we now, that was the other day we were talking about the 12-year-old, the 26-year-old woman who separated from her dad when she was 12. And to end the psychological and emotional and physical hurt. And, we think that because she didn't went through high school and college and maybe got married and had kids, that she's healed, because she's not focused on that thing. But that time, the time heals all wounds. Jesus heals all wounds. Because if you don't address certain things, you'll go listen, something will play on a radio station, and you be all bawling or you mad, or because that reminded you of. Healing is subjective to the individual. And one thing you always hear me talk about is your posture. How do you position yourself for God to grow you? How do you position yourself for God to heal you? How do you position yourself to be able to move on? It's you. Faith without works is dead. And if we do not position ourselves for things, it won't happen. We're trying to figure out why we can't get over certain things. That's because we have to ask ourselves, have I positioned myself? So Lady Tamika said something that was really, really key. She said people just move on to the next relationship, to the next relationship, to the next relationship. And they're thinking because then they moved on to the next relationship, and now you've got all of these wonderful things happening in this new relationship, that you didn't forgot about the old person and some of the things that you've experienced. And whether it's good or bad, just because you're with a new person, no. And we see evidence of it every single day. Every single day we see evidence of, just because I've been married 3-4 times, it doesn't mean that I have healed from anything that has happened to me. One of the things I say to Christian wives, I said, listen to me, be very careful of how you talk to your husband, how you speak to him, what you say, the tone you use, because guess what? You got to figure out who he's hearing. Is he hearing you? Is he hearing his mama when he was 10? Because that's what happens a lot of times when I speak to the men. They're like, she's just nagging me like my mama. or like my mother used to do, that nagging, that constant chiming in his ear, that because he hasn't healed from that. Because when mom was getting on him, he didn't accept it for what it was, when she was trying to grow him or mature him. And that was her method of doing it. And now all he hears is her nagging. He doesn't hear the help that you're bringing to his life. He doesn't hear the healing you're bringing to his life. He doesn't hear all your great suggestions that God has given you for your marriage or for his life. All he hears is that woman nagging and yelling in his ear day and night, because he hasn't healed from something from when he was 10 and 15 years old. But because he's married, because he's dated 15 people before he got married, the assumption is he's healed. Pay attention. Pay attention. You have to position yourself for healing. For those who are grieving 9 years down the line, have you positioned yourself for healing? You know, I had somebody say to me, I cry for my mother every day. I don't cry for my mother every day anymore. And Lord knows I miss her. Lord knows what happened the day and the moment he closed her eyes, and how that shifted my entire world. Ways that I never imagined. Shifted. But God has healed Stephanie because I've positioned myself for healing. Do I cry at times? Absolutely. Does it feel fresh at times? Absolutely. But am I helping you right now? When I get on this broadcast every day, am I doing anything that's blessing your life? Because if the answer is yes, then I have to tell you that the reason is because I've allowed God to heal me from my mother's passing. Because if I was up every day crying every day, I couldn't read, because my reading and my studying prepares me for what I have to say to you. I didn't have to go looking in the scripture when we were talking about the healing and the grieving, because I've studied and because I've read right off the top of my head. I was able to say, here's 2 scriptures. And if I actually open up my Bible, I could find you more. But off the top of my head, these are the first. That's what we have to do when we're ministering, when we're evangelizing. And let me help you understand something. If you calling yourself a Christian, that's your job. So for those of us who still don't know our purpose, that's your job. For those of us who have just walked into Christianity and you're trying to figure out, what do I do now? Disciple. Evangelize, minister, bring others into the fold. We can't do that if we're grieving, because that's our focus. Our heart is hurting. Our heart is aching. So therefore we're not reading the way we're supposed to. I want the first person to tell me they so deep in grieving that they reading on a regular basis the way they're supposed to be reading. And if you're not reading and studying, you can't evangelize. If you're not reading and studying, you can't make applicable anything, because you ain't got nothing to make applicable to your life. You can't disciple anybody on something that you learned 25 years ago, from a scripture that you've read 25 years ago. No, the Lord says, keep this ever before us. Not only them, it's not just for me as a pastor to keep this ever before you. I got to keep it ever before me, because how could I bring it to you if I don't bring it to me? It's got to hit Stephanie first before it affects you. Because once I read it and once I study it, the Spirit of the Lord gives me application. It gives me wisdom on the information that I have. And therefore, when it's your turn for me to speak to, then when God gives me a word or gives me a question, I can now hit you with it. But if I have not taken that time to spend with God, to just bolster me and to grow me and to strengthen me, then I'm useless to you. So this grieving thing that she's going through, she can't bless her children. She cannot bless any new man, and she can't bless God, and she's doing nothing for herself. Because that's a deep sadness. Grieving is not just being sad. It's a deepened level of sadness and sorrow that you're experiencing, and it takes a lot to come up out of grieving. And that's why I talk to you about your posture. Are you waking up every day saying, you know what, God, I'm going to be better than what I was yesterday? Just in general. Is that your prayer every day when you wake up? God, I need you to make me stronger than I was yesterday. Because guess what? That encompasses everything. That encompasses your bad habits. That encompasses your eating patterns. That encompasses the way you listen. That encompasses the way you speak. That encompasses everything. When you ask God, God, I need you to just remold me today from what wasn't good yesterday, what wasn't right yesterday, what wasn't at its best yesterday. Can you, if a person walked up on you, could you minister them immediately? Now, I don't mean just sprouting out some words and some scripture, no, I mean really minister. And I'm gonna tell you why I ask you about this. I ask you that question. You know, we belong to the Jesus Week movement, and one of the events was a walk. It wasn't that many of them, from what I understand, but as they were walking from their beginning destination to their end, they came across a woman. I don't know who started the conversation with, but one of them in the group started the conversation, and she mentioned that she was on her way to the liquor store. And who comes walking by her? People on a prayer walk. And she joined the prayer walk and never made it to the liquor store. Now, whoever spoke to this woman could have said anything. And what they could have said could have made no difference at all, because there's a whole lot of people on their way to the drug house, to the liquor store, to have sex, all kinds of things. And somebody didn't cross their path, and whatever they said did not land. But she was ripe at the moment. And we know she was right because none of them anticipated they would see her. And I got a praise report yesterday. Now, that was the 8th of August. And yesterday was the 17th of August. And, was it 18th or something? Yeah, somewhere. Yeah. Why would they? Got to get this date right. 19th. Yesterday was the 18th of August. And they said that she partnered up with the pastor who was hosting the prayer walk, and she has not had a drink since. Now, their prayer walk started at 10 a.m. So from early morning, that was her plan. So because whoever spoke to her was also ripe. How are you ripe? Because these things you do in your daily life helps to prepare you for that interaction right there. But if we were all up in our grieving moment, could they have said that thing? Chances are yes, but chances are no. You cannot do anything that will rob you of God's purpose for your life. And staying in a grief stricken manner will rob God. Why? Because there's too much time. Somebody said, I asked the ladies, one of them said, because you're focused on you. You're not about God's business. You're not about evangelizing. Well, because you say one good thing every once in a while. No. Listen, being on the battlefield for God is being on the battlefield for God. And that means you got to stay there. And it's okay. But what do we talk about when we say positioning yourself for grieving? All them pictures, got to slow down. Because that's keeping that ever before you. Because again, the longer you take to look at them pictures, are you looking at your scriptures like that? Are you studying instead of looking at them pictures? Why are you looking at all these things that remind you of people? She wanted pictures. Like I said, when he first met her, she was doing all of that. She wasn't preparing herself for a new man. Are you preparing yourself for God? Are you preparing yourself for God to take you to the next level? Somebody said something extremely key. Are you telling God he made a mistake when he closed their eyes? Do you have a better situation for them than God had for them? Do you feel that God could still have, so they died too soon? That ain't I'll say. I could have had them here another 25 years, yeah. Every once in a while, when I get something new in the house, my mother was with me from the time I got this house, and she saw this house go through many stages. And there were times I'll say, wow, Ernie didn't get to see this. Wow, Ernie didn't get to see her grandchildren graduate. But whatever she did while she was here is what God wanted her to see, and he allowed her to experience. Can we say she missed out on stuff? Then what do we say? I always tell people there's two ways of saying everything. So when we say, she missed out, what are you saying to God? That he didn't think about this? She didn't, like Shanti said, she missed out on nothing. She in the grave. She sleep. Sleep on. Sleep on. There are things that people go through that we have no idea that they're going through. And yet we're just begging God to keep them here. We ain't thinking about God's plan. We ain't thinking about what's going on with them. People sometimes, they are suffering, and we still trying to hold on, or praying, asking God. God heal them. They in one of the worst states they've ever been in. Now, are we saying that God won't turn their illness around? Absolutely not. But are we thinking about what they're going through? God, what is God saying here? Are we thinking about that? So we're taking a very practical situation and we're bringing it to light. What's going on in your life? Are you grieving over anything? Are you grieving anyone much longer than you need to be? I can't say your grief should be 5 seconds or 5 minutes. I was very close with my grandmother. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't be where I am today. I would not be Pastor Steph if it weren't for her. And I remember when she passed away, I didn't cry for a while. I don't know if it hadn't hit me or whatever, but I didn't cry. But I was missing her greatly. And I remembered our last interaction. And there was a time I felt it. And it just came down. And I was getting ready to burst out in tears. And the phone rang. And the Spirit of the Lord said, not now. I didn't know who was on the phone, because I didn't see the call ID. The phone was away from me. But when I tell you, everything just hit me at once. And I was like, wow, she's actually gone. And I was about to go, ah! The phone rang just at that moment. And I heard the Spirit of the Lord say, not now. Can I tell you something? I never cried. Never. At her funeral, at the burial site, is when it hit me again. And I was like, that's it. Wow. That's it. And it didn't last that long. But it has nothing to do with how much I miss her. It has nothing to do with all that she has imparted into me that I will never, ever forget or will ever leave me. A lot of things that I do and I say, I think about her. A lot of her quotes and little quirky things that she did is there. But to this day, I never really just got the, I felt it. But I never went to God and said to God, you know what, you didn't let me grieve her. Because maybe I wasn't supposed to grieve traditionally, but now utilize that energy to channel into my ministry. Because my grandmother was the type of person, she'd say, okay, get up, enough of that. Say, all right, enough. Let the dead bury the dead. Go on about your business. Eat your food, wipe your mouth clean, and keep it moving. All this, I told you, this is all this stuff that's in my head. I remember. And if I think about her, she was a tough cookie. You really didn't see her break down. In all my 50 years, a couple times I saw her cry. But she was that tough individual, and I'm sure she cried in her own way and in her privacy. But I'm saying all of that to say, I've heard so many people talk about, I haven't had a chance to grieve. Shanti just got finished telling you, there's somebody who's actually paid money to go so they could grieve. So what's actually supposed to happen when you go sitting up in the Bahamas and looking at all the beauty that God has provided us with? Are you going to look at that and you're going to take pictures and some notes and, listen to voice messages? And is that what we're going to do to force ourselves into a grieving state? We need to seek God for everything. And every day that goes on, I really see the purpose of us seeking God for everything. Everything. Because even this grieving thing that this woman is going through, she has 900 reasons. It was a high school sweetheart, and it was a kid's father, and she was married to. Does that mean that we spend this here kind of time? Does that mean that? Or does God want us to channel that? And maybe the love that you shared with this man, maybe God has provided the love that man taught you and you gave to him. Now it's maybe time for someone else to receive that love. And he's chosen you. Maybe, I don't know, I'm just saying. Maybe he's chosen you to take everything you learned in that marriage and now give it to someone else. Teach him how to love. Teach him what it is to love. Maybe he's never had that before. And now you have been chosen to give him that love from God. But we can't do it. She can't do it if she's living in yesterday's relationship. So now she's about to rob this man, because while she's married to him, she's really still in love with somebody behind her. So that's why I said, let's talk to God about everything. There is nothing that we should not be talking to God about, because as we can see, it matters. It matters. Choose God so that he can give you these things. See, when you don't choose God and God is not the head of your life, none of this makes sense to you. There's no importance to any of this. But I'm telling you, I just gave you personal testimony personally about how I don't feel bad because I didn't break down and I wasn't over in the corner crying. And I'm telling you some stuff that even a stupid cousin put my grandmother in the coffin in the cousin chat room. And when I was like, whoa, okay, I didn't expect to get this. But even that didn't break me down. And the more I think about it, it's like, God got something bigger. All that stuff that she gave me, she would have understood me crying. But after a while, she would have been like, okay, Stephanie, what's God getting out of your life? Even if she didn't use those exact words, that would have been her message. Trust me. Are we robbing God? That was a big thing for her. Are we robbing God? So I'm asking you today, Are you robbing God of his glory, even for 5 minutes? Now, if that 5 minutes looking at them pictures or looking at this mantle, or looking at the ashes on the mantle, or whatever it is, if that robbed us from 5 minutes from reading our Bible, it has robbed God. Because you can't give the world grief. We have not been designed to give the world grief. We've been designed to give the world Jesus and his Father. That's what we've been designed to do. And anytime we're not doing that, we are robbing God. You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. As you go through your day, be sure to set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. They will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew for always coming through big time. Thank you for hanging out with us and helping us keep this chat room alive. Please do not miss this opportunity to accept Christ as your personal Savior right now. Please do not miss this opportunity to strengthen our relationship with the Lord right now, because later is not promised to any of us. Until tomorrow, God spares, where it's Therapeutic Thursday. Until then, I love you.